Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number 5 of my favorite 30 progressive rock albums of the 70s. We have been counting down all month long. We're at the final 5, the last 5 days of the month. My top 5, my favorite 5. It's been a tough month trying to pick just 30 albums from the great era of the 70s when it comes to progressive rock. Most, if not all, of the real classics of the genre came out during this decade. And lots of great albums that I really love a lot, but you can only fit 30. So, it's a lot that aren't going to get mentioned. But the cream of the crop for me are the ones that are getting mentioned, including this one, which is the third album from this British band. Yes, another British band. Released the 12th of November, 1971. Produced by John Anthony for Charisma Records and recorded at Trident Studios in London, England. I'm talking about Nursery Cryme by Genesis. Sorry, Chuck Alvarez, I like this a lot more than you do. It's been a running joke on in the prog seat for quite a long time. Chuck and I feel quite differently about this album. This is one of my favorites. This also, of course, kind of signals a major change in the lineup of the band. This becomes the debut album for what many people consider the classic lineup of Genesis, right? Tony Banks on Hammond organ, Mellotron, acoustic piano, Fender Rhodes electric piano, 12-string guitar, backing vocals, Mike Rutherford bass, Taurus bass pedals, 12-string guitar, backing vocals, of course Peter Gabriel lead vocals, flute, oboe, tambourine. Steve Hackett, his first album with Genesis, on electric guitar and 12-string guitar. And Phil Collins on drums, percussion, and vocals. Lead and backing vocals. He sings lead vocals on one song, co-lead vocals on another, backing vocals across the rest of the album. Also his first album with the band. And that great Paul Whitehead album cover, right? Cool stuff. I remember the first time I heard Nursery Cryme, again, and I probably told this story before, I actually bought Seconds Out before I heard any of the other Genesis albums at the time. And I probably bought Seconds Out probably 2 years after it originally came out. So when I bought Seconds Out, the live album, and I listened to all these great songs, I only knew Genesis with Phil Collins singing these songs, right? And then I went out and got, I don't even remember what it was called, but there was like a 2-disc set, I believe it was 2, that came out. It's like that. I think it was called Genesis: The Charisma Years or something like that. Whatever. And it had Nursery Cryme and Foxtrot on it in a 2 LP set. And I remember thinking, wow, these songs sound a little different with this guy, Peter Gabriel, singing. Because at the time, I don't think I was even all that much aware of Peter Gabriel as a solo artist. He was already out of the band. So, we're talking probably 77, 78, maybe something like that. So, and not sure whether I liked the original versions or the Phil Collins stuff better. And then, of course, I went and, by that time, and then there were 3, and Duke is coming out, and all that kind of stuff. And I just started scooping up anything Genesis related. And then all of a sudden, I started to really realize how much I just truly was falling in love with the Gabriel era of the band. Although I love the early Phil Collins era too, right? So, that's a story for another day. Anyway, just talking Genesis history with myself. But this album grew on me like hogweeds. There have been times in my life, and especially as a fan of Genesis, where I've often said that this is my favorite Genesis album. In more recent, in the last couple decades, it's been another one. Spoiler alert. But I really love this album a lot. And, again, it's kind of not really Genesis yet at the height of their songwriting powers and whatnot. I think they would gel more as a unit, as a band over the next couple of albums. But there's something charming about this record and these songs. I mean, the musical box is just absolute pure genius. just pure genius. It's light and quirky and whimsical and folky, and it's big and boisterous and somewhat heavy towards the end. There's some great guitar work, great keyboards. Love Peter Gabriel's vocals. Play me my song. Here it comes again. I love it. Just absolutely love it. The musical box is just pure stroke of genius at 10 minutes and 25 seconds, right? In fact, what's really interesting, it's like, going back to the Seconds Out album, that's a truncated, they only played the last half of it. And I remember when I finally heard the full version of this song, I'm like, oh, why didn't they play that full version of this live, right? For Absent Friends, right? Kind of quick little piece right there, right? That's kind of quirky, written by Hackett and Phil Collins. Really like that one quite a bit. Phil, again, Phil was showing his vocal prowess really, really early on, but in very, very short bursts. Then, of course, is the return of the giant hogweed. I have a real soft spot for hogweed. Again, another lengthy piece at just over 8 minutes long. Again, it's so very British. It's so very weird, but man, musically, it's just so different than what other bands were playing at the time. And just, again, it's aggressive. It's just Genesis, right? And then over on side 2, you got the lovely Seven Stones, killer song. Then the really, really whimsical Harold the Barrel. Love all the little vocal styles that Peter's doing throughout that song. It's like he's playing multiple parts. Does it so well. Harold the Barrel, loads of fun. Then, of course, the lovely Harlequin. Right, you got these really great shorter pieces on this album. Everything just kind of sequenced just perfectly. And then, of course, the dramatic, mellotron-drenched, Hammond organ-drenched Fountain of Salmacis. It's a great song, another 8-minute long track. I've often said I can never decide what my favorite song on this album is between Salmacis, Hogweed, and the musical box. I mean, I love everything on here, but man, Salmacis, so good. I love Peter's vocals, and Tony's use of keyboards on this track is so good. You got great guitaring from Hackett as well. The bassing, the bass playing, just such and what's great about the Fountain of Salmacis is it's like ominous and dramatic, but yet the band takes you through these kind of like peaks and valleys throughout the whole song, and it's amazing. There are days where I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, God, Fountain of Salmacis could be a favorite Genesis song. When you think of like all your favorite Genesis songs of all time, sometimes Salmacis is not one of the obvious picks, right? But the more you really think about it, the more you're like, oh man, it's just so good. Love it so much. And it's just, to me, it's a very underrated gem in their catalog. So, that's the album. All right, how about the charts? Sal, would you ever have thought that Nursery Cryme, the highest charting position in any major market, was in Italy? Number 11. Made it to number 11 in Italy. On the UK charts, it made it to number 39. That's it. Nowhere else. Funny enough, though, in France, even though it didn't chart, it still, over time, went gold. I don't know when the last time it was certified, but it sold 100,000 copies in France. And in the United Kingdom, this is a silver seller, 60,000 copies. So it's not a big seller, not a big charter, but I think most people who are longtime fans of the band realize its greatness, even though, arguably they went on to do albums even greater than this. I have a soft spot for it. And, you can tell, and it really started with Trespass, right? That's where all the kind of pieces started fitting in. Obviously, the band were mightily turned on by King Crimson and the Moody Blues, and realizing all the things they could do with some of the instruments at their disposal, and they were really learning their craft like on the spot, touring in the studio and rehearsing, and from Genesis to Revelation, when you listen to the early stuff from the very first album, and then you listen to Trespass and this album, you're like, wow, it's like two different bands, right? So talk about really finding their way very, very quickly. That was Genesis for you. So that's my pick for today. Love this album to death. Nursery Cryme by Genesis. Let us know what you think of this album in the comments below, as well as your pick for today. Day 5, pick number 5. We got 4, 3, 2, and 1 coming up. Just 4 more left, and then I move into the ridiculous task of picking out my favorite 31 hard rock and metal albums of the 70s. And I'm going to put some serious work into that today because I don't like to do these things last minute. So I want to be ready when Saturday comes that I've got my number 31 all ready to go. So I have like a big list I've been putting together over the last month. It's just now I need to start pulling things into like a master list and saying, all right, because I still haven't made a final decision yet, just so you guys know where I'm at. I still have not decided whether I'm going to allow 3 by any one artist or band or just limit it to 2. So what I'm doing right now is I'm like, all right, gotta have this one. I'm going to start pulling things out of the big long list into my master list. And if it looks like I really can't fit enough of the albums that I really love a lot because I'm holding on to this 3 albums by any one band, I may have to dip that back to 2. Just because there's just certain albums you got to get on there. So again, it's another instance of I could easily for the month of July have my full list of 31 be comprised of like 6 bands, right? That's not so much fun, right? That's a little, I don't know, dare I say predictable, right? So I may move it back to 2. It'll pay me to do that, right? Because there's just certain bands where I easily have 5, 6 beloved albums by them, or maybe even 3. But if I have all of a sudden I have 8 bands that have 3, I have 3 picks of each. That's 24 out of the 31. So I may ultimately be going back to 2 for this particular one. We'll see. Could have done it for this month too, but you learn as you do these things, right? Because these things are not easy. They're not easy. These kind of lists are just ridiculous. But yet, we do them, right? So thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations as well as our merch page, so thanks in advance for all of that. And, just thinking, wrong one here. Mr. Hackett has always played a really nice gold top throughout his career. It just dawned on me. I just happened to look over my shoulder, and there's my Gibson Les Paul gold top. And I'm like, yeah, Steve Hackett likes those things quite a bit. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for pick number 4. Also, tomorrow is In the Prog Seat Day. We will be doing a album study. That album is Kansas Song for America, their great second album. So tune in for that. That's a load of fun. And what else? Wednesday is new album release day. So we've got, or not new album release day, but new review day here on the channel. So I'll be bringing reviews of a few things for you this week. Not quite sure what that all will be yet. I haven't tackled any of them. I had a pretty busy weekend here, so I didn't get any listening done. So whatever I can kind of squeeze in. I got a couple that I'm earmarking, so we'll see how it goes. You may not get a big prolific one like you have the last couple of weeks, but you'll get at least 2 or 3. And then what else? Friday morning, Funhouse with Martin Popoff. We got Saturday is, of course, the UK Connection, and Sunday is ranking the albums. And till then, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good week. All right. Bye-bye.